What's going on, everyone? This is Jack with the Trading Tribe, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're going to go through really how I was able to grab about $900 out of the ES futures market. I'm going to kind of break down this trade idea. Essentially, I am out of the trade now, so you can see here on my ThinkorSwim broker, right, that P&L that has been realized, but I'll kind of walk you through what I actually did for the trade, what gave me the confidence. I actually held overnight as well, so we can kind of talk through that and really how I put this swing trade idea together. Here on my screen here on the left-hand side, we can actually see the past 20 days, and we are on a 20-day 1-hour chart. And then here on the right, we can see really what ES has done today. ES, if it's your first time seeing this, is the S&P 500 E-mini futures contract. So think of this as just a way to trade the stock market or the S&P 500, but you're getting involved from the futures side of things. So just an asset class very similar to like an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. And every point here on the right, so every whole dollar you can think of it as, is $50 on this main contract. So if you take a trade at 51.20 and you get out at 51.30, with that 10-point difference or $10 difference, you can make about $500. So I made about 20 points today on this ES contract, just to put that in perspective. As you'll notice right now that the day is almost over, we can see ES has gone on just a monster move. So we've gone all the way from 50.90s all the way up to 51.61, which is now our new all-time high. So if we back up a little bit and look at like the daily chart, we can see ES is above last year's all-time highs. It's now making new highs as we speak. So definitely entering back into the bull market, and I'll kind of walk you through how I got the idea, but also how I executed on the trade as well. So if we look here on the left-hand side, we can tell that every time, right, ES has a nice little pullback here on the 20-day chart. That pullback does end up stopping right around this white trend line. So this is just kind of an easy way for me to mark out what those lows have looked like for the past couple dips here and really get an idea of when to start looking for those buys. So all I've really been doing all month is essentially waiting for these pullbacks right here to end. And once those reverse, catching buys here, for example, to actually go and ride that momentum up towards those prior highs. And I've really been doing this exact same trade all month for the past 20 days or so. I took a lot of buys down here earlier in February, also took buys over here as we kind of head up on the all-time highs last week, and then also took some trades obviously today, but also yesterday into these last two dips as well. So that's the really nice part about trading ES. If you're focused on the right side of the trade, you can essentially just wait for these and take advantage of the obvious trades, right, where the trend is actually on your side. And as you can see, right, these have produced really large wins. So even if you just capture one or two of these a month, right, this move can be, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 with just one contract. And we'll notice in terms of days, right, some of these trades only take a day or two to actually play out, right? So if you got in here, for example, that was the 21st of February. But by the 25th of February, which is just a few days later, right, you can see that you made a massive profit there on that contract. And with just like one contract, right, that's going from 5,000-ish to 5130, which is 130 points, right? So 130 points is obviously over $6,000 of profit potential. So lots of profit potential on the table here. And that's really what I did on this trade. So I noticed that ES obviously had this really nice pullback 2 days ago and rebounded really nicely. So ES actually had a really nice bounce yesterday and took advantage of that, obviously. And then we had another nice pullback here to that 200-day moving average on the 20-day chart, which it actually respects quite a bit here. So I actually like this indicator a lot. Not necessarily for entries, but really for just determining what the trend is doing and kind of where we are in terms of context. And so what you can essentially do is you can essentially just wait for this downtrend to end and get in there, or right, you can kind of predict this move and buy these dips, because right away, right, we have a low to risk off of. So on an uptrend, just as a reminder, right, you can essentially get in on these dips with a stop loss under that last low. So if you get in today, really the right stop loss at least would be under this prior low. This is the safest stop loss. If you want to play it a little bit more aggressive, you can put it right here, which is this stop loss right there. So you can have a little bit tighter risk if you want, but obviously that decreases the probabilities of the trade working. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, to leave it down in the comments. But essentially, that's all I noticed, right? I noticed on the 20-day chart, we had a really nice pullback here, and we started holding that trend line that we talked about, giving me confirmation, right, that there was some big money in the ES futures market. And essentially, when I woke up, right, we could see this really big bounce, which gave me the confidence to get into the trade. And I exited way too early into one of these earlier higher highs. So I essentially just day traded it overnight. But essentially, you can take this trade, you can take some of these other day trades as well. So we've had a few really nice pullbacks today. We actually just had one as well. So tons of different ways to actually get into this stock. And depending on how much you like it, right, obviously certain people are still in it because it's still giving those higher highs as well. So not a huge reason to sell quite yet, but based on really that style and that trade idea, I obviously just sold into a higher high. Did not expect it to go all the way up to all-time highs today, right? Some of these moves are a lot quicker than expected, so never going to be perfect there with exits, but hopefully putting this trade together and looking at the higher time frames all the way down to the 1 minute chart here on the right really helps explain how I was able to pull about $900 out of the market today. If you have any questions, like I said a little earlier, feel free to leave those down below. Tons of videos like this coming up on the channel, kind of walking through how to day trading futures, swing trading futures, all things futures. I also trade options and stocks as well, so trade a lot of different asset classes, but futures are definitely the focus here on the channel. So if you like this content, feel free to like and subscribe down below, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.